The Seahawks have a Puka Nacua problem, and I don't think that I'm outlandish to say that. I am a true fan. I'm a person that's going to bleed blue and green until I'm dead. But I'll tell you right now, Puka Nacua, he's had a pretty darn good career against the Seattle Seahawks. And it feels like in the first matchup, Seattle did a very good job of limiting him and limiting the explosiveness, the big playability that he has for this Rams team. The problem in the second matchup, Seattle didn't limit squat from Puka Nacua, and he damn near won the game all by himself. So how are the Seahawks going to be able to stop Puka Nacua? What are they going to need to do? Well, we're going to have to get into that in today's video because right now I'll tell you, I think Puka Nacua is the only player on that Rams team, not Matthew Stafford, not Davante Adams, not Kyren Williams, not Blake Corum, not anybody on the defense. I only think that Puka Nacua is the only person who can beat this Seahawks team. How do they stop him? I'll let you know in just 1 second. But before we do, come on in and subscribe to the channel. We are in a sub battle right now with the Rams Report. They are a brand new channel here at Chat Sports. And we want to show that channel that they will never be the #1 NFC West Chat Sports channel because that will be us, the Seattle Seahawks Today. So come on in, hit that sub button. Don't let the Rams beat us. Now, let's get into the video. In the last matchup against the Seahawks, this is Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner. Puka Nacua, he killed Seattle. He really did. Whenever he wanted to get open, it felt like he found a way to get open. When he needed to come up with a big catch, he came away with a big catch. Now, some of it was matchup based. Whenever he was on Jobe or Josh Jobe was on Nacua, it was like a green light to throw Puka the ball. When you look at the stat line, it's unbelievable. You might think that this is Nacua's stats against the Seahawks in both of the games that they've played already this year. Clearly, it wasn't. Puka Nacua, if it wasn't for an incredible OT two-point conversion play by Eric Salbert and Sam Darnold, would have been the MVP of that game because Puka Nacua had all of the big catches and all the big plays and all of the big scores. This can't happen again. Seattle cannot let Puka Nacua find a way to will this Rams team to be in a good position to beat the Seattle Seahawks again. So in today's video, we have to find a way to stop this massive problem that clearly the Seahawks have. Now, the nice thing is, Seahawks aren't the only team that have had this problem, so maybe Seattle can draw on some of the past mistakes of other teams to find a way to slow down Nacua. I want you to be the coach, though, right now. Let me know, how can the Seahawks stop Puka Nacua? Let me know down below in the comment section. Do you have a plan? Do you have a person that can stop him? Do you have a radical idea that can help the Seahawks come out on top when it comes to this matchup, mano-a-mano? Let me know down below in the comment section. My first idea, because I do have 3 of them in today's show, and each one gets a little more radical. The first one is put Devon Witherspoon on Nacua all game long, a.k.a. put Devon Witherspoon, put Puka Nacua matched up, traveling around the field all against each other. Now, when you look at Mike Macdonald's defense and what has made it so successful throughout not just this season in Seattle, but last season in Seattle and his time at Baltimore, his time at Michigan, he doesn't really make changes to his defense. I guess I should say he doesn't make big scheme-altering changes. He obviously makes tendency changes, matchup changes, depending on the team that he is going to play. But for the most part, Macdonald has created a defense that works consistently, year in, year out, game in, game out. But I do think it might be important for Macdonald to slightly adjust that and take Seattle's best cover corner, best corner in general, honestly, and put him on the best wide receiver for the Rams. Put Devon Witherspoon on Puka Nacua all game long. Let him travel around the field with him. Do not let Devon Witherspoon go against anybody else. Do not let Puka Nacua go against anyone else. Because when you look at the stats for Devon Witherspoon, they're pretty darn impressive. We know that he can play all over the field with anybody. We know that Seattle likes to use him in the slot. They like to use him in the blitz game, in the run-stopping game. That's why his tackles are so high for a corner, and Devon Witherspoon isn't afraid to hit. But I'll tell you right now, he is good enough to run with Puka Nacua. He is good enough to stay with Nacua on the different routes that he is running. What makes Puka so smart is that Puka is able to put himself in a position to where he's running the route that the corner doesn't realize he's about to run the route. AKA, if he's going to run a slant, Puka's going to make it look like he's about to run an out. If he's going to run a hitch, Puka Nacua is going to make it look like he's running a vertical route, and he just continues to get open. He's smarter than most people, and then he uses his athleticism to his advantage. Well, let's put our best guy on Puka Nacua, a guy who's able to run with Puka Nacua, a guy who's able, with his football IQ, to see what Nacua is about to do and stay with him. Let Devon Witherspoon come in and try to shut down Puka Nacua with his best ability on their best ability. And I do think that this is possible. The second idea that I had for the Seahawks to try and stop Puka Nacua in this matchup isn't actually doing anything different on Puka Nacua. It's having a different game plan to go and get pressure on Matthew Stafford. Why? Because if Seattle gets pressure on Stafford, then he will not be as accurate with the football and be unable to get the football to Puka Nacua. When you look at the stats so far on the 2025 season, obviously there's a reason why Matthew Stafford is a MVP candidate. There is a reason why he's been so successful this year. And it's because Matthew Stafford has been getting the ball out of his hands quickly. He doesn't sit back in the pocket and wait for guys to get open. It's one step, bam, get that ball out of your hands. And you're seeing a lot of success with that. Think about this Seahawks defense and how well they have played this entire football season. They've done a fantastic job of shutting down quarterbacks, making them uncomfortable and getting to them, right? Brock Purdy in the last game against Seattle ran for like 400 and some odd yards east and west in the game to avoid getting sacked. You know what? Something that hasn't happened? Matthew Stafford has not been sacked this year by the Seattle Seahawks. Why? Because he catches the ball and he gets the ball out of his hands quickly. So what can the Seahawks do to change that number from 0 sacks to 2, 3, 4, 5 in this matchup? Because I'll tell you right now, when I looked at that sack number, I went, how in the world is this possible? How is this a real stat? I double-checked. I went from ESPN to Sports Reference, right? I was like, this can't be a real stat. Well, the Seahawks, they could do something a little bit different. And I'm going to tell you what that thing that they could do to get more pressure on Matt Stafford is in just a moment. But first, I got to let you know about the sponsor of today's video because it is our good friends over at PrizePicks. The big game is almost here, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get into the football action before next season. So close the season out right with PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Find your community on PrizePicks. With the new social feeds feature, you can share PrizePicks with your friends and copy lineups from winners with a single click. Copy lineups you like or use them as inspiration for your own picks. You can even follow PrizePicks partners like us and tail or fade our picks with just one click. New feature alert! PrizePicks now has early payouts. If your player gets off to a hot start, you now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. I have a 2-pick power play for the action this weekend. Cooper Kupp more on his receiving yards. Matthew Stafford less on his pass yards. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. What Seattle can do is allow their defensive linemen to pin their ears back more than ever. They can allow this defensive line to run more picks and more stunts and more twists. When you look at the interior depth of this defensive line, I have not seen a group be better this season with how they are moving, how they are stunning. Leonard Williams and Byron Murphy both have over 7 sacks on the season in the regular season. Leonard Williams, he used some of his skills that he learned from Gray Zabel to be able to get into the backfield and make big sacks against the San Francisco 49ers. Allow this crew to have a little more freedom to just go at Matthew Stafford. When you look at the edges, what do they not have to worry about in this game that they had to worry about with the San Francisco 49ers? Matt Stafford is a statue. You don't have to worry about him running, escaping the pocket. Pin your ears back and just go after him. Do not let Stafford think that he is ever going to be comfortable in the pocket. Continue to compress. And what's most important right now is the corners and DBs just have to make Stafford hitch. And what I mean by that is when you're QB, you go back, last step, hitch once, and throw the football. That is what quarterbacks are doing when they are on time. So make him hitch twice, a.k.a. Stafford goes, his first look isn't open, now he steps up. If he does that, that's going to give this defensive line plenty of time to get into the backfield and get him on the ground. Puka Nacua cannot be a major issue and cannot kill you if you get Stafford on the ground. The last idea, and this is the most radical, let Puka Nacua get his. Let him get however many yards that he is going to get against your normal defense. What I mean by that is if Devon Witherspoon is supposed to be on him one play, then Devon Witherspoon is on him one play. If it's supposed to be Reek Woolen the next play, then let Reek Woolen be on him the next play. I know it sounds crazy. Even let Josh Jobe on him if it ends up needing to be that way. It's going to sound crazy because of how good of a player Puka Nacua is and how many different skill sets that he has and how uncomfortable he can make this Seahawks team. But at the end of the day, when you look at the rest of the Rams' weapons, Kyren Williams, Davante Adams, Colby Parkinson, Tyler Higbee, Terrance Ferguson, you could even throw in a Blake Corum on there. Do any of them scare you the same way that Puka Nacua does? I tell you right now, Davante Adams scares me, but not the way that he would have 3 years ago. He scares me a little bit in the red zone, but he doesn't necessarily scare me in between the 20s. They don't scare me a whole lot. And what I mean by scare me is Terrance Ferguson going to go for an 80-yard touchdown play in this game? Is there going to be a big explosive play from Tyler Higbee where he has a 50-yard catch and touchdown score? I don't necessarily think so, at least not in the way that Puka Nacua is. So what Seattle can do is play their normal defense, understand that, yeah, Puka Nacua is going to have a decent amount of catches, a decent amount of yards, and probably a score or two. But they can play their normal defense, stay within themselves, and not let anybody else get theirs. Sometimes the best defense, and I know this is apples to oranges, but in basketball, the best idea is to let Michael Jordan score 50 because that meant that Scottie Pippen and the other guys, Steve Kerr, Dennis Rodman, anybody else that was on that Chicago Bulls team, that meant that they weren't in a rhythm. That meant that they weren't getting their shots up that they needed to. That meant they weren't scoring at the same rate that they needed to or normally would. So when they were called upon to make big plays, they couldn't. That could be an idea that the Seahawks employ here. It's a crazy one. It's a radical one. But it is one that I do think Seattle could use, and it could work. Is there a Rams player that scares you? Let me know down below in the comment section. I know there's a couple of Seahawk fans that look at Puka Nacua and go, I'm not even scared of that guy. I think we're going to dominate him. So let me know. Are you scared of a player? Are there players that don't scare you at all? Or frankly, are you not scared of any of the Rams players? Let me know down below in the comment section. Like I said, we're in a sub battle right now with the Rams report. So come on in, hit that sub button, help us go out and beat them. Not just on the field in the NFC Championship game, but more importantly, here at Chat Sports. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.